Welcome to this episode of Your Guide on Ghana, Part 3, and the final part of my conversation with Christopher Omo-Shango Davis, who is a historical researcher and has provided insight on history of Africa as well as the Caribbean. But before we get into the conversation, here's a message from today's sponsor.
Wow. Hello.
Yes, Daddy.
Oh, City. With your voice, no teaching my okay. I can't live without you. Talk to me.
Daddy, the money.
Oh, yeah. I'm in short to I think too. Oba money for you now that you be a bit me a bit. Have you real phone? Yeah, me and my wife. Where is it?
In Sio Beneto. You think slave queens are cheap?
Oh, no matter.
Just use ZPay to send me 1,000 Ghana cedis. After all, the charge is only 5 cedis.
No problem. Come inside. Surprise visit.
The money.
Oh, okay. ZPay mobile money.
ZPay. Oh, thank you so much.
Don't mention.
I can even use the same ZPay mobile money to pay my bills. Now let's
Dial *270# to pay all your bills with ZPay mobile money.
ZPay Shatumu Direct.
After the filming of this interview, Christopher Omo-Shango Davis has stepped away from the organizing team for the World Junkanoo Festival. He has chosen instead to focus on his historical research in Ghana, which will have him working towards continued historical connections between Ghana and the Caribbean. The World Junkanoo Festival will still be taking place in March 2022.
And then if you want to get involved in the foundation, where we're going to be, it's tons of things, outreach programs and all of these things. It's the World Junkanoo Festival Foundation.
I want to hear about the festival because you're planning on doing a festival here in Ghana.
Right.
That is your plan.
Yeah, so essentially it's going to, all the stuff I just told you, all the different countries and nations, we're trying to bring artists and artisans from all of these different nations, right? And we want it to just be a masterful networking, edutainment initiative. So for example, in the Bahamas, we actually have some pretty good musicians, but our market is so small and they haven't gained the right proper exposure. So for example, we have a fellow, just to name a few if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Ras Copper, Bobo Aiki, Ja Doctrine. We got a man named D-Map, you know what I mean? He sings the more traditional Bahamian music and he gets very deep into the culture. In my opinion, there's several reasons why many Bahamian artists, and even like painters and stuff, like it'll be like one or two who do well, but they usually have to leave the Bahamas to do well. You understand? And it's because we've been conditioned not to appreciate history and art.
That happens here in Ghana too.
Like
There's people who are not appreciating history and art here as
I
well.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you, still be grateful because Ghana I've never been in a place that appreciated as much as Ghana. Even though, of course, it could be more, it could be much better. And again, that's that survival mode, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta worry about how you can eat, you won't got time to be reading no history books.
Right.
That's the reality,
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah.
You worrying about how your daughter can get her school fee. You don't get no time, you understand? And then you always frustrated, all of these things. Then of course, we also know that trauma, psychological trauma is how now been proven to be intergenerational. I'm also on the reparations committee in the Bahamas, and our Madam Chair, Niambi Campbell Dean. She's also a Pan-Africanist psychologist, and you hear her first name, Niambi. It's also, if I'm not mistaken, Ghanaian.
Niambi.
Yeah, right. And so, Dr. Christopher Curry, Dr. Nicolette Bethel, all of these are people who have done fine research, and many others that I can't get into. And so it'd be good, just speaking from the Bahamian delegation side, for us to gain all of this exposure and be amongst people that appreciate it more and reconnect to Ghana. And then you have Jamaica, of course, Guyana. We have Ras McBain from Guyana, who actually lives in France. Big freedom fighter out there. Shout out to Ras McBain, you know? And then, of course, one of my close partners in this whole thing is my wife, Damaris Cabello, songbird herself. But also we have a lady who is called the Junkanoo Goddess. And when you all see her and meet her and her group called the Junkanoo Commandos. And so we have these different groups in the Bahamas that compete against each other. She is actually the founder of the Junkanoo Commandos. And she was just able to put it all together in like a non-partisan way. And they have won the National Cacique Award for, just for all of the things that they do. She keeps me motivated with her excitement about Junkanoo. And I believe that when she comes, to Ghana, and she will be coming to Ghana for the festival, and probably even before that, you will have to meet her. The level of energy and excitement that she brings to it, you will know how much it means to Bahamians, you know. And when I went to Pockeso, you know, I cried like 4 times for different reasons. One was out of anger, when I was like, how the hell we let these people teach us all of these lies? To the point where our greatest festival has only been watered down, and they tell us, oh, we did it on the slave plantations to entertain our slave masters. Anglophilia, the irrational love of all things English, is what all people who have been colonized by the English suffer from.
I have never heard that term before. Anglophilia.
Anglophilia, the irrational love of Britain. And we have these things manifest differently in different countries as well. So it's not like, you know, we have to get out of the, you know, this one is more this and this one is better than that, because all of us have suffered through a lot of the same stuff. And things just manifest differently. You know? We have issues back home of, for example, in Ghana, one thing I appreciate, I see so many women and men just wearing their natural hair and not, you understand, just not conforming to European standards of beauty. It's just a beautiful thing to see. People of African descent with their natural hair. It's a thing for us. You understand? And in the Bahamas, you know, and it's not to cast blame, and I'm not, of course, saying, oh, that women shouldn't wear a weave. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, we've been taught to see Africans as ugly and see it as not desirable and all that. And so you have girls who will perm their hair until all of this is, you know, they get the alopecia going on. And, you know, they rather be yappy than nappy. I hate to say it like that.
Yappy than nappy.
They rather be yappy than nappy, you know what I mean? And it's sad. And of course, I'm not blaming them or anything. And of course, that's something that's very trivial at the end of the day. Oh, this one wears waves. No, that's not what I'm saying. But the root of it is that kind of degradation of African custom, tradition, and of course, African beauty. You understand? And so it's very complex. But at the same time, men in the Bahamas don't bleach their skin. But I've seen men in Ghana.
Yes, there's men in Ghana who bleach their skin. Yeah, there's a lot of women who do as well.
You know, right? And so stereotypically, and I mean realistically, honestly, the Bahamas is not really known for having this pride in their African ancestry. But then,
I don't hear about Bahamas. I hear Jamaica more.
Big time, right.
Like of all the islands, Jamaica's the one I hear the most about
we don't
African
like to admit it in the
connection.
Bahamas. Both Jamaica and Haiti, they are big brothers. And every time Jamaica had a major slave revolt going on, we was revolting at the same time. When they had the Baptist War, Christmas time, 1831, we had, on my island, I'm proud to say, some of my ancestors was there, as well as the great-great-grandfather of Sidney Poitier. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Well, he's from the Bahamas.
Yeah, he left there for America.
Right. You know, and so even his great-great-grandparents were on this plantation, the Dick DeVoe Revolt, you understand? So we're all interconnected, inextricably linked through culture, through revolution. Not just through slavery, you understand what I'm saying? Not just through, and then people make us believe in the West that our history begins with slavery. And then that is what caused, and you could understand why people would be reluctant to dive into that, because it doesn't make you feel good.
Right.
But when I come at it from the reparations perspective and be like, hey, you know, there was like literally trillions and trillions of dollars, right? And you'd be like, what? Oh, what you talking about now? Oh, money, you get paid for this? It's like, yeah, well, you built everything. And like, it's so sad, like we are taught to praise our slave masters in the Bahamas. At the end of your primary school curriculum, the loyalists being the ones who moved with their slaves to the Bahamas, increasing the Bahamas population by 5-fold. That's how I got there. My name is Christopher Davis. That's a Welsh name. Do I look Welsh to you? No. So anyone who tell you that really bothered me, you know. And that's, I hate to say it, you have a lot of people who aren't that smart, don't have that proper critical analysis, won't read. And then a part of it too is because that history has been taken away from us. You know, some of us get a little overzealous and they would see that, oh, they had people from Senegal living in Panama before Columbus. All the Panamanian indigenous people were black, and that's not true. You understand? Many were. We came over, we influenced the culture, that is absolutely clear. We showed them things, they showed us things. We traded with them, they traded with us. But the biggest piece of evidence for the African presence, before I started to digress, was actually some spears that Columbus found, I believe is on his second or third voyage. And when they took those spears to the assayers in Spain, the people that melt down metals to tell you if it's 3 parts silver and all
Right.
that stuff, they were perfectly identical to the spears that were being forged. And guess which country at the time?
Ghana.
You understand? So
Wow.
this is deep stuff.
This is deep. This is deep.
You know,
This is deep.
and Ivan van Sertima, for anyone who wants to know about that, Africans traveling to the New World before, Ivan van Sertima, and then of course Runoko Rashidi, who I also have to shout, he actually passed away about 4 days ago. Runoko Rashidi, one of our
4 days ago.
scholars, yeah.
Oh.
And there are many people, that's what we have to start doing too. We only focus on rappers and, you know, and I personally love Afro, you know, Burna Boy and them, man, I love them. My son dances to them, me and my son is dancing to them. I taught my son how to walk.
How old is your son?
1.
He's dancing.
1, and he dancing, rocking down low and whining and clipping his fingers and all of that, you know. That's the African culture again, you know. And I used to tell the Ghanaians were telling me that the Gao people, or the Ga people are known to be some of the best dancers.
Yeah.
I said, boy, my son, he probably got some of that DNA.
Probably,
in him, you know?
probably,
Yeah,
probably,
right.
probably.
And, yeah.
So we've been talking extensively. I really want people to be able to pick up your book. The book again.
Sankofa Flamingo. Just once you type it in, you will see everything there. And the book is going to be in volumes.
Okay.
So the first one that's actually being edited right now, going to be submitted into the university, and then it's going to be published. It's called Sankofa Flamingo Volume 1, White Lies, Black Truths.
Okay.
Right? And then the other one that I'm working on is going to be specifically on Jian Kwao.
Okay.
Junkanoo. Not the evolution of it, but the origin of it.
Okay,
Who
so that
this
one is
man
not out yet. You're working on that one.
That one is going to come out at the same time as the festival.
Okay.
The other one, the other one is in the process of being published, and I'm going to actually probably be in Ghana, do a book signing in Ghana, and all of that stuff as well.
Great.
Because
When is the
Ghana's been so
festival?
good to me.
When is the festival supposed to be?
We're planning it for March 1st until March
2022?
2022, and it will coincide with Ghana's Independence Day celebration.
Yeah.
Includes musical concerts, educational conferences, business platforms and presentations, a beach soccer tournament, the whole 9. Right.
That's good. That's good. That's really good. I'm sure the kids here will be good at the beach soccer because people are playing
Big time.
it in the dust.
Yeah.
The football, as they
Yeah,
call it in Africa and Europe and the rest of the world, soccer, as they call it in North America.
Well, I actually had a meeting with some people to speak about on the beach soccer. Ghana actually has a team.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's different because, say, in the Bahamas, it really took off in the Bahamas, number one, because tourism is our main product. We have the nicest beaches in the world.
Yes.
I'm not ashamed to say. You know what I mean? But in Ghana, you guys actually qualify for the World Cup all the time, you know, so it was different. So the regular football team will always take precedence.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people see it as the sport taken away from that sport. But beach soccer is actually a complement to grass soccer. Any Brazilian player from Copacabana or anywhere around the beach, for example, Romario grew up playing beach soccer. And then when he retired from regular football, he went back to playing beach soccer, you know. I actually played foot volley against Edmundo before.
That's it. They call it foot volley.
Foot volley, yes.
Okay, is that different than the beach?
It's different. It's actually a game that I also play. I'm not as good as I was because I'm retired now.
Okay. Yeah, because I recently traveled into the Volta region and people were talking about foot volley.
Yes.
And I was like, what's foot volley?
It's volleyball with no hands.
Yeah.
And so you have the same rules as soccer. So no arms. That's a handball, but it's volleyball with no hands.
Yeah.
The ball it's like a mix between the volleyball and the soccer ball. It's a lot softer, so it bounces off your chest nice. And it's 3 touches and then back over. Same concept. But it actually, and that is a compliment to beach soccer.
Okay.
Because when I was playing in Switzerland, that was the game that we played. Funny joke, the guys in Switzerland used to call me Shishwe. Even though I'm a goalkeeper, so I guess I got a pass for it, right?
Okay.
But they called me Shishwe. And what that term actually meant was a person who wears skis.
Okay.
Some slang or something for a person who wears skis. And they were saying that my technique is so bad that I play football like I wear skis. And so that's what galvanized me to learn this game, foot volley.
Okay.
And so while the coach saw me and he's like, wow, you were ready, you could jump this way and you could do all everything, but you suck. And they telling me this playing, and I was like, yeah, okay, you don't have to be so mean. Right, and then essentially I played this game, foot volley, for so long I was getting frustrated. Because I was feeling like, oh, you can let all these other goalkeepers do all the other drills, and you have me over here stuck doing this thing. But it was the hard training, and then before I knew it, I was playing with these other guys. They stopped calling me Shishwe, and it just happened kind of organically, you know. And then I ended up being second in line to Nico Stalder, who was the Swiss goalkeeper. Brought the product back home as well, and improved massively from it. There's a lot of things that could be done for beach soccer, and it's not, and especially for certain communities along the coast. So if you look at the nation of El Salvador, for example, a nation that has a lot of poverty, a lot of social ills and things going on, beach soccer was really a saving grace for many of those guys, turning these fishing villages into sporting spots, you understand? And our goal within the festival is to make Pocasoo, aka Princestown, the place where Junkanoo operated from, into the black Mecca that it is, the black Jerusalem that it is. So Christians, you go to Bethlehem, Muslims, you go to Mecca, but all those, Christian, Muslim, all of us who are of a Pan-African philosophy, looking to come home, find your roots, find something you could be proud of, you know. It's the reason why the focus is always on Cape Coast and these other places, because they are able to push a certain narrative. But when you talk about Junkanoo, Queen Nzinga in Angola, Agaja Trudeau in Dahomey, the same people that they tell you were these big time slave traders, but you always find a Junkanoo from all of these different tribes. And you always see this big war that was fought before they were then subjugated. And then again, fight or flight. You understand? You have a family, what you can do, you either had to run, fight, or hide, or conform to what was happening, or else it would be you. And if that African group didn't do it, the Europeans would have gone and do it themselves. And that's another thing. You have slave narratives. You could literally go on Google and Google slave narratives, and you could hear it directly from people's mouths who were captured in Africa. And more than half of them say white people catch them. So why y'all spinning this narrative like it was only Africans? We were just here waiting, you know, desolate, savage, not waiting for anything. The white man came and just, hey, you want to sell some slaves? Of course we do. That's not what now happened. Come on. You understand?
Yeah, I hear you. There's one of, there was a historian that I had spoken to some time ago from the University of Ghana. He does African history. And he was talking about, because there's even a book called it was like the history of indigenous slavery in Ghana. And so basically what he was saying was that, yes, there were some chiefs and stuff who were willing to sell off you know, people who may have lost wars, or people who were supposed to be in servitude. And he said that at the time they saw slavery as somebody being in indentured servitude for life to a person.
It was not,
and in being in servitude, they still treated you like a human being. He said they still treated you like the way they treat their family members. It's just you were relegated to live in a certain part of the house or whatever it may be. You served them, but you weren't brutalized. You weren't. He's not justifying it, but he was saying that from history that the people who sold some of them thought that the people they were selling them to were going to treat them the same way. Exactly. They didn't know it was going to be a brutal system of killing, slaughtering, beating, chains, all that stuff, raping. He said that they didn't know that that's what it was going to be.
Our history is very complex.
It is so complex.
And that propaganda, that European propaganda,
it is so complex.
Has been so damaging. You understand? And the reason why, the number one reason why this happened, in my view, was actually in the later history. So from the mid to the late 1800s, this was when these European nations were, quote unquote, now abolishing slavery. And then, of course, they teach us to thank the same people that enslaved us for freeing us. It makes absolutely no sense. You understand what I'm saying? If I kidnap you right now and brutalize you every day, why should you thank me for releasing you? What the hell is that? You understand? And so this is how it is. And they write out of history the blacks that helped Mary Prince, Oduba Kuwango, Ghana. You understand? Olada Equiano. All of these people were black writers who told these so-called British abolitionists what was happening. These were the men and women who made speeches to Parliament, made the average British citizen cry, because they had the first-hand example of what was happening. You know, we were taught in the Bahamas that slavery wasn't as bad in the Bahamas. You know, it wasn't so bad. We had benevolent slave masters. We are taught literally to praise. Big time. Praise our slave masters. Bahamian history is European history as it occurred in the Bahamas. To mention a man, Kwamina, for example, who came to the Bahamas, who was the, I guess, the Akan hero of the Bahamas that we've recently discovered. He came on a ship owned by a man named Woodes Rogers. Woodes Rogers was the first royal governor of the Bahamas, and we praise this man. His motto was the motto for our country until 1973: expel pirates and restore commerce. And we completely lose the translation of it. This in 1717. What was British commerce in 1717? Slavery, theft, destruction, and rape. There ain't no sugarcoating it or beating around the bush about it. That's what it was. And we were taught to praise this man. Oh, he was a pirate. He caught the pirates and he ended piracy in the Bahamas. Well, while piracy was going on in the Bahamas, we actually had one black leader of state. And then we had to wait until 1968 until we get the next one. You understand? And what he did was turn the Bahamas into a slave state. And that ship that he owned was called the Nassau. And that ship that he owned also brought Kwamina to the Bahamas. And Kwamina's plan was to kill the governor in the Bahamas first, just like Kwaku. Try to kill all the other ones. And again, we were taught that, oh, no slave revolts in the Bahamas. And in my book, I go deep into that. And even though it's focused on such a small country of the Bahamas, the way that Bahamian history has been spoon-fed to us is a microcosm of the way that we've been spoon-fed the white man's rhetoric for all these years in the entire diaspora. And it's actually the quintessential example. So you have people like Roll, for example. You had this man named John Roll, who is one of the biggest slave owners in the Bahamas. Never stepped foot in the Bahamas. And people speak favorably about this man. He used to make £70,000 a year.
He was the biggest slave owner and didn't live there?
No, what they call an absentee. People don't know how much money it was for these people.
Oh yeah, well, I know it was a lot of money because the banking system was founded on the slave trade. So there's a lot of banks, and like the British bank, some of them that the wealth was founded on it.
The founder of British banking is one of the people is Thomas Leland. Thomas Leland sponsored 6 transatlantic voyages to the Bahamas. It's in my book. And I break down how they founded these banks. Even banks in Canada. We have a man named Enos Collins. He made one slave trip and couldn't stomach it. And this is where the propaganda comes in. Oh, because they like to throw these truthful lies out there. So what they'll tell you is, oh, less than 25% of white people own slaves. Okay, so let's look at Enos Collins. Enos Collins tried to have a slave voyage. He couldn't stomach it. He was from Nova Scotia. What he started to do is he had all these fishing fleets and they would catch codfish. That codfish, he made millions and millions and millions of dollars in the 1800s. So this is no translation of wealth. Millions of dollars in the 1800s. He was a millionaire off of this fish. Who was he selling this fish to? The plantation owners of Jamaica. What is Jamaica's national dish? Ackee and codfish.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was kingfish.
Codfish.
Really?
Or some would say saltfish, but it's ackee.
Yeah.
Fish from Canada, essentially. Fish from the Arctic Circle, that far away. So how did that happen? It happened because of slavery. And these men are making millions of dollars. Never owned no slaves. But you could see how you can make all this money off of slavery. And now the national dish of Jamaica. I don't know if it's a national dish, excuse me if I'm wrong about that, but one of the more popular dishes from Jamaica is ackee.
Ackee, I hear ackee and saltfish all the time.
Ackee is definitely African, you know that.
Yeah, people come here and they find out that ackee grows wild in Ghana.
It does, I was surprised.
And Ghanaians don't eat it.
What?
Yeah, Ghanaians don't eat it. Because ackee is one of those things that you have to cook a certain way, or you pick it at a certain time, or it can be poisonous. So I've heard, I don't know what truth there is to it, but I've heard from people that historically when someone cooks food or picks food and if somebody dies from it, then they're like, no, don't eat that again because you're going to die. So what I've heard is people died and now nobody's like, they're like, no, we're not eating it.
When you get deep into this, I have an article that I wrote a few years ago in a class by Dr. Christopher Curry. It's on world civilizations, but it's called African Medicine. And I go into how they demonize African medicinal practices. They call it witchcraft.
It's still demonized to this day as a result.
West African religion in the Bahamas is illegal.
Is it?
Yeah, people don't believe me when I tell them that, and I sometimes have to show them the law. It is illegal. It's worded the way that it's worded. They say that obia, which is a word.
Yeah, I've heard obia. But explain it for those watching that don't know what it is.
Obia has 2 meanings actually. The root of the pureness of the word has not been deciphered. Most people believe it's from a word Obifayo or something like that in Ghana that means something like doctor.
Obeifo.
Obeifo, right? Yeah.
Obeifo.
There you go. Means doctor or healer.
Obeifo.
Yeah.
Some,
Yeah. So
people use it for like ghosts and spirits and
right. So that's one. But the word conjure comes from the tree language, conjure or something like that, and that's where. So you could see the connection. But on the other side, obia is a broad term that was used by the British to describe anything that Africans did that made them uncomfortable.
Okay.
Including Junkanoo at one point.
Okay.
Our festival. Even that, they used to say that we were worshiping Bacchus. Shows you their level of ignorance. People from West Africa came to Bahamas and started performing their culture, and they somehow connected it to an ancient Greek god from 2,000 years before. Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And then you have voodoo, which is from Haiti, and we have a serious problem with Haitian xenophobia in the Bahamas because of the Christian dogma that goes alongside with the demonization of African culture and traditions. And it's the way that it's written, it says any of the vials, any chain, any necklace, any earring, any long list of things. And pretty much they saying anything that we find that we think is obia, we locking you up for it. 200 years ago, they executing you for it. Yeah, execution. And then they hang you up, let your body rot in the Bahamas too, because you all like to think we didn't have it as bad as our brothers. No, in the Bahamas too. When Dick DeVoe finished his revolt, as a matter of fact, there was this big rumor saying that the people raised him from the dead. Now this where I was gonna wait till I can release, only because we vibing so good I can talk about it. And so in my thing, African medicine, another project that I'm working on, central to that is the Haitian Revolution. That's why I smile when you said they said ackee is poisonous. Ackee and manchineel was actually the poison of choice of Queen Nani of Jamaica. And one of the reputations about her nickname was the Obia woman. You see what I'm saying? And she used to use manchineel. This is like a mangrove apple and certain parts of the ackee fruit to poison slave masters. You understand? Yeah, they don't teach us, but they're saying a Khan woman doing this, poisoning hundreds of people, never lose no battle to them until she died. And that society is still there, Nani Town in Jamaica, still there to this day. And yeah.
Wow, this is really deep and extensive. We could talk for hours and hours and hours on this. We do have to wrap it up. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk today about all of this history and about the Junkanoo Festival that's coming up in Ghana next year. March 2022.
Well, I got an invite from a very, very important person to attend the Kundum Festival.
Okay.
And so, even if it's just me, I'm going to have to be back here because I don't like to turn down invitations.
Which festival?
The Kundum Festival. It's actually the origin of all of these festivals that we're talking about now, mostly among the Ahanta and Nzima people in the
the Western region.
Right, extremities of Ghana.
Okay,
right.
Okay, all right.
And that is the origin of all these festivals that then spread out from this revolutionary place under Jean Kwao, and then it all blossomed throughout the New World. Then, of course, they tried to lie to us and say, oh, the British gave it to you. And we know that's not true. And it's the Ghanaian people who confirmed that for us. Right.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching this episode of Your Guide on Ghana, where I do my best to bring you stories from Ghana and the diaspora communities, experiences, travel, life. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, share this video, like this video. I'll put all of his contact information for social media, his website, in the description box, as well as I'll pin it at the top of the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.